The new German Chancellor has been sworn in. Olaf Scholz, who's a Social Democrat, replaces Angela Merkel, who led Germany for 16 years. He heads a coalition with the Greens and Liberal Free Democrats. The drug firm Pfizer-BioNTech says tests have shown that 3 doses of its COVID-19 vaccine can neutralise the Omicron variant. It also said that if needed, it can deliver an Omicron-specific vaccine by March. The head of India's armed forces, General Bipin Rawat, has been killed in a helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu. His wife and 11 other people on board also died. And Boris Johnson has apologised for the offence caused by the video that showed his staff joking about reports of a Christmas party in Downing Street. It caused widespread public anger as it allegedly took place during lockdowns.
We begin with the coronavirus situation in Japan. Health officials have confirmed the country's 4th case of the Omicron variant. The health ministry says the infected man is in his 50s and had visited Nigeria. He was quarantined after testing positive for the coronavirus upon arrival at Narita Airport near Tokyo on Saturday. His test sample was sent for further genomic analysis. A panel of experts is advising the government to boost testing in response to the global spread of the variant. They're calling for close analysis of all positive samples in the country, especially from those who've been abroad. The experts are also warning that the downward trend in new cases may have stopped. Authorities across Japan confirmed 136 new infections and 3 deaths on Wednesday. Tokyo had 21 new cases. The daily tally in the capital has been below 30 for the past 27 days. South Korean officials are reporting the highest number of serious cases since the start of the pandemic. New coronavirus infections topped 7,000 for the first time. And the government is scrambling to bolster the medical system as the Omicron variant begins to spread. Officials reported a record 840 coronavirus patients in serious condition on Tuesday. They said more than 80% of beds reserved for severe cases are occupied in the greater Seoul area.
We are increasing the number of hospital beds, but it is difficult to keep up with the spread of infections.
South Korea has confirmed 38 Omicron cases so far. Community transmission of the variant has been reported, including infections related to a church event near Seoul. In November, the government eased some coronavirus measures and removed a limit on business hours at restaurants, but it partially tightened up again on Monday. The restrictions include a cap on the number of people allowed at private gatherings. Malaysia has tightened its entry requirements for all travelers in response to the global spread of the Omicron variant. Malaysia's health ministry says that starting from Wednesday, travelers must take daily tests for 6 days after entry. The move comes after the country reopened its border with neighboring Singapore for fully vaccinated travelers last week. The ministry says the measures aim to prevent the entry and spread of the new variant in the country. Malaysia last week detected the first Omicron case in a woman flying from South Africa. India is also stepping up efforts to prevent the spread of the Omicron variant. Authorities in Maharashtra and Delhi have ramped up testing at airports and railway stations.
The passengers are undergoing testing day and night, and if we find any passenger that is infected, then further procedures can be done.
India has confirmed 23 infections of the new variant. The government is urging people to get fully vaccinated, wear a mask, and maintain social distancing. U.S. pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and BioNTech on Wednesday released the results of an initial experiment on the effectiveness of their coronavirus vaccine against the Omicron variant. The results show that with 2 doses, the vaccine's ability to prevent COVID-19 was significantly lower against Omicron versus the original strain and other variants. But it but it did still offer protection against severe forms of the disease. A third dose increased the vaccine's effectiveness 25-fold. Meanwhile, White House Chief Medical Advisor Anthony Fauci says emerging evidence indicates that Omicron may be less severe than other variants. He said in a White House briefing Tuesday that the need for hospitalization and supplemental oxygen seems to be lower, although this could be influenced by the fact that many of the infections are with younger people. But Fauci indicated that it would take time to get a fuller picture. Britain's leader has announced that his country won't be sending government officials to the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing starting in less than 2 months.
There will be effectively a diplomatic boycott of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. No ministers are expected to attend. What I think the House and no officials.
Johnson added he doesn't think keeping athletes away is sensible, and that remains the government's policy. Earlier on Wednesday, the Australian government said it would not be sending an official delegation to the Games. Prime Minister Scott Morrison cited China's human rights abuses in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and other issues. The United States announced similar measures on Monday. Olaf Scholz has become Germany's new chancellor. He succeeds Angela Merkel, who exercised strong leadership in Europe during her 16 years in office. Merkel was the country's first female chancellor. She's stepped down after 4 terms and is retiring from politics. Scholz was elected chancellor in a vote by the parliament, then formally appointed by the president on Wednesday. The 63-year-old served as finance minister and vice chancellor under Merkel from 2018. Prior to that, he was the mayor of Hamburg. He'll lead a 3-party coalition between his center-left Social Democratic Party, the environmentalist Greens, and pro-business Free Democrats. Russia has invited South Korea to invest in its planned tariff-free zone on what it calls the Kuril Islands. They include 4 islands that Japan claims as its northern territories. Russia's government announced on Tuesday that Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Trutnev made the comment to his South Korean counterpart in an online meeting to discuss economic cooperation. His remarks followed those by President Vladimir Putin, who unveiled a plan in September to create a tariff-free zone to attract foreign investment to the islands. Japan says such plans run counter to the aim of the 2 countries conducting joint economic activities in the Northern Territories without harming each other's legal stance. Russia controls the islands, Japan claims them. It says the islands were illegally occupied after World War II. Japanese lawmakers are hashing out policies proposed by Prime Minister Kishida Fumio in his speech to the Diet on Monday. Among the topics are Japan's defense, economic recovery, and Kishida's plan to make coronavirus booster shots available as quickly as possible.
We'll do all we can to prevent infections. After studying if and how existing vaccines are effective against the Omicron variant, we will speed up administering booster shots, and will use the Moderna vaccine, which is expected to be approved for boosters, to shorten the current 8-month interval between the 2nd and 3rd shots.
To aid the economy, Kishida has proposed a $490 billion economic package that includes funding for a more robust medical system. The new leader of the largest opposition party is questioning the use of coupons in the government's plan to provide one-time handouts to families with children. Some lawmakers contend that giving out coupons for half the amount will cause costs to balloon and burden local officials with extra paperwork.
The extra cost for issuing coupons should be spent instead to help people in dire need. It could also be used to help the working poor.
We want local governments to consider providing coupons in principle, but will allow them to provide money in the full amount depending on their situations.
The Secretary General of Kishida's Liberal Democratic Party raised the issue of missile defense.
There are arguments about whether we can really protect our country by merely improving our capabilities to intercept missiles. Possessing the ability to attack enemy bases, or, in exact terms, the capability to counterattack enemy bases, is a viable option.
Missile technology has been progressing rapidly, including hypersonic glide vehicles and trajectory-shifting missiles. We'll consider what is needed to protect the people without ruling out any possible options, including so-called enemy base attack capabilities. We will try to gain public understanding through those realistic discussions.
Discussions of Kishida's policies will continue through Friday. Japanese billionaire Maezawa Yusaku has arrived at the International Space Station. The 46-year-old fashion entrepreneur and his assistant are the first Japanese private citizens to visit the Earth-orbiting station. The Russian Soyuz spacecraft carrying the pair lifted off from a cosmodrome in Kazakhstan shortly after noon on Wednesday. After a 6-hour journey, the spacecraft successfully docked at the ISS. During his 12-day stay, Maezawa is planning to conduct and live stream experiments proposed by the public. This has been a boom year for space tourism. So far, private citizens have outnumbered astronauts 22-19. Severe flooding and heavy rainfall have been impacting Hawaii for the past few days, but things have started to dry out. Our meteorologist Sakamori has a look at the forecast in World Weather.
Hello there. A tropical paradise has experienced unusual weather. We are talking about heavy rain on the beaches and heavy snow over the mountains. This is the radar on Monday. You can see a lot of moisture coming in from the south, and that's constantly hitting the island of Oahu. Honolulu had 201 millimeters rain in just one day. That's the record for the month of December. We have some video coming out of the city. Hawaii has been drenched by a powerful storm system the past few days. A state of emergency was in place. It has led to more than 300 millimeters of rain in several places over the past 3 days. 5 people were rescued Monday night in Oahu as a swollen stream poured into the Pali Highway. Things are looking up now. Conditions are improving in many places. Honolulu could see a chance for rain because it's a wet season, but it's going to be mostly calm into the weekend. Meanwhile, there's a rain band stretching from the southern U.S. up into Canada, and we have dense fog advisories in place along the Gulf Coast. Visibility could be less than 2 kilometers. Cool air is flowing into the northeastern U.S., so that will bring the single digits highs as well as snowy weather for this area. Meanwhile, it's dry across many places of the country, many places of China, thanks to a high-pressure system. Light rain will cool things down across northern Vietnam as well as Cambodia. And we had very chilly and also windy weather in Tokyo on Wednesday, but it's going to be sunny finally on Thursday with high of 13 degrees in Tokyo, and temperatures are going to be even warmer into the weekend. Nice weather is in the forecast on both Saturday as well as Sunday in the capital city of Japan. That's it for me. Have a nice day.